Welcome to another Warships video. Season 12 has just ended and I'm gonna give a full review. First of all, I really liked Season 12. The low amount of bonus building damage meant that it was a season of base racing. The way the tech tree was set up made sure that it didn't become too tedious. The meta was changing constantly and near the end there was a lot of room for people to practice using Seekers due to the low amount of building damage and tons of GBE. I got kind of irritated the final few days of the season because we seemed to enter a moment of even tech, in which the bulk of the players got to the end of the tech tree and the battles became rather boring. But on second thought, I feel like they did a pretty good job preventing even tech. More on that later on. First, let's go over every ER chronologically and discuss the interesting things we faced this season. At 3 ERs, we immediately had the heavy rush meta, with heavies, flares and bullets at the beginning of the tech tree. Heavy rushes are a great deal of fun in my opinion. The most interesting thing here was the split between people who went to the 4th ER ASAP and the people who picked up artillery. Unless you were really early to the artillery party, I feel that it was a mistake for most people to go that route, but nonetheless it was an interesting split in the player base. The 4 ER meta really depends on the type of player. The players who tech rushed their way into the 4th ER and skipped artillery and even the flamethrowers and GBE had a totally different meta than the ones who got into that later. I like that there were different viable attacks in the 4th ER. Riflemen worked great for getting a split going and rushing through those bases, but even the heavy rush meta was still viable for a long time. Things started getting tougher when people got to the multi-node, on which most people picked sky shields, and once the max artillery people started flowing into the 4th ER, things were getting crazy. At the end of the 4th ER, people started picking up shock launchers, and people started to diverge and unlock rocket launchers, mortars, and whatnot. Even full rocket chopper hits were apparently a thing, as the 4th ER became trickier and trickier. After a long wait, racking up those keys, we finally hit the 5th ER. Most people waiting another 38 keys for those beloved diddles. Soon after, Seekers got unlocked as well. Those who didn't have them yet had to unlock flamethrowers to counter Seeker attacks. But due to the low building damage, Seeker attacks were still an effective method for those who could use them well, even with the extra building damage and shock mines. For the other 90% of the players, it was mostly a combination of heavies and bombardiers until we hit the 6th ER. The main upgrade, which everyone was gunning for, was of course the heavy chopper. Once they were unlocked, Seeker attacks became more common again. People opting for 3 choppers and 5 Seekers, and of course bullets with taunt. Other players mostly went for a combination of 2 heavy choppers with 6 bombardiers. Immediately after unlocking the 7th ER, you got extra troop damage and extra troop health, with another 2 GBE nodes afterwards. This made Seeker attacks more common again for a period of time. At the end of the season, people went back to pick up some extra defenses, and we got a few days of even tech. I want to come back to the even tech of this season, but first I'll tell you about my personal journey. I got into Diamond pretty early on in the season, going about my tech rush, got into Diamond 24 with 10 days to go, and afterwards I really messed up. I figured that this season was great for improving Seeker skills, and it was. The offense was way stronger than defense this season, and the bonus GBE that we got was insane. My plan was easy. Watch how other people use Seekers, understand what they are doing, and copy it. Just keep on using Seekers until you get good. Even if it fails, I would use Diddles the final days to climb into Legendary. I made 2 mistakes. Mistake 1, not having enough time to play a lot of games. Mistake 2, not sticking with the plan. When I started out using Seekers, I went on a large losing spree. With about a 33% win rate, I dropped down more than a full rank. I panicked and started using Diddles again, before I got consistent with Seekers. But often I would see a base layout and think, damn, this one must be easy with Seekers. Then I would win and think that I was a Seeker god and go on using Seekers again. This cycle continued for a week, in which I didn't have a lot of time to play Boom Beach. I'm not great with Seekers, but eventually I came to a point where I was staying at an even rank, just before 24 again. I was winning 50% of my battles with Seekers, but Seeker hits were getting more difficult as we got to an even tech at rank 24, and people were unlocking extra flamethrowers and machine guns, and getting 5 extra shock mines. So the last 2 days I wanted to climb using diddles only, but then a lot of people had unlocked rocket launchers. Yeah, rocket launchers. I laughed them away early on in the season, and even at the last day, it wasn't their damage which was a problem. Most people had all their troops left before Hail Mary flaring them to the final ERs each battle. But the problem with rocket launchers was the extra time it took to take them down. 4 extra rocket launchers which had a significant amount of health. And this is why I came to the conclusion that there was no problem of even tech at this season. The fact that I ended this season at a lower rank than I was 10 days prior to that is of course my fault. But what I'm getting at is, at the end of the tech tree, it would not have been a bad idea to get to the rocket launchers for a final diddle push. If I didn't go on my Seeker adventure, the best thing for me would have been to continue pushing with diddles while I had the tech advantage, and of course getting more keys. At the end of the tech tree, I would have unlocked the extra machine guns and flamethrowers, but also the rocket launchers. Seekers didn't stay the meta for Legendary. A lot of people were still using diddles, and with those extra defenses, you would add a few seconds to your opponent's attacks. So my new conclusion is that this season didn't really have a period of even tech. Even though a lot of players did get to the end of the tech tree, the small difference in times people were getting meant that even a few extra basic defenses could make the difference, and there were a few extra defenses people could go back for. It was only the last 1 or 2 days that a significant proportion of the top players really got into a period of even tech. All in all, I loved this season, especially choices people had to make before the 4th ER, getting artillery or not. I liked that some people made rocket choppers work in the 4th ER, and went rocket launcher early on to create dirty 5 ER or 4 ER bases, and I liked the room there was for practicing Seeker attacks without getting punished too hard. Lots of people are voicing their frustration with base race seasons, but I'm loving it. Just plan out your tech tree and perfect your attacks to win by 1 second. Nothing is better than that. That was it for the review of Season 12. Soon, I'll be dropping the Ultimate Guide to Warships Parts 1 and 2, something I've been working on last week, and I'll upload a Season 13 preview on Sunday. Looking forward to it.